Okay, mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2. Mic check, mic check. Test 1 2 1 2. Okay, welcome everyone to the Pro Trader and Plus and the FOMC Minutes. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, all the trades we discuss for educational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor. All trades we discuss for educational purposes. Okay. So right now, I'm going to be looking at the ES or the MES, ES 1225, and also the YM. So the YM is 1225 also. Now, this is a report that over the past many months has not had a viable setup. It is what it is. We can't change the fact that this report really hasn't been responding to news, to the minutes. It just hasn't been much movement on this report. So there's not a lot you can do when a report isn't moving. And let's look at the DMM and you'll see what I'm talking about. So let me show you. So the DMM, the daily trade report, has basically, now we've had a trap trade on the ES and it's just not working. If you look way back in January, it worked a little bit. All right. It worked a little bit. It moved 15 ticks. There's not a whole heck of a lot of reversal available when it moves that little. It was not very much. In February, it only moved 5 ticks. April was tariffs. We had huge, huge tiers that worked, but we're not in tariffs anymore. May, no movement. July, no movement. August, no movement. And we've had a YM breakout that barely works. It's poor to mediocre. Poor to mediocre. It is the way it is. It's not that we're dumb or that we just can't figure things out. We checked many, many, many different instruments, and they're not having solid moves. None of them. We checked currency futures. We checked um, gold and bonds, and we're just not seeing movement on this report. But I know you'll probably think I'm a little bit crazy. I kind of think that there's a possibility we get some movement today. Why? It may, first off, if there's movement, it may not be totally directional. It might just be ups and downs. It might, I don't expect whipsaws on this news because it's really a report. It's the minutes. The minutes are a report of what took place during the FOMC statement. And then some added things are said. But we can't change the fact that this event has not really been moving the markets. So I'm not interested I'm really not interested in an ES trap that has worked really one time in the last 6 events. So I just don't have that much interest in that. Um, the YM, and look at the testing. So we create what we call a spike sheet. When we test and when we have a trap trade as our previous setup, we automatically create what we call a spike sheet. A spike sheet, all it is, it's a report that we go back and look at the last event because we haven't tested that one yet, and we compare it to all the spikes that have come before. So for the ES, we have a spike sheet. Last month, there was no fill on the trap trade. It it moved less than 18 ticks. July, no fill. May, no fill. Tariffs, doesn't matter. February, it moved 15 ticks and there were 13 ticks in a reversal. January, 28 ticks, 45 reversal. That was a good trade. Then November, no move. October, no move. July, no move. So you could see this is not a consistent, profitable report in any way, shape, or form. So you could think to yourself, well, what if there's like a decent move? We could put tiers of 20 and 35 with a stop of 20. 20 and 35 with a stop of 20. So if there's not that big a move and it moves 20 ticks and then it changes direction, you might have an opportunity to make some money. If you really want to be safe, you could do that using the MES. I mean, this honestly is a report that probably shouldn't be traded, certainly not in cash, but we don't have a setup. It's very rare not to have what we think is going to be a really good setup, but that's the reality. That is the reality. The YM is pretty poor. Let me show you why I say that. It only moved well once in August. And in July, it only moved 10 ticks. And in May, it only moved 15. So we're really creating a setup based on one movement. It makes no sense. I mean, that's the reality. The YM, it was for lack of anything else that even resembled the setup. Just doesn't make sense. You could trade for a high of day magnet, which makes a lot of sense actually. I think that might be the best ES trade of them all. YM, I don't think you don't have a good, you could trade for the previous open custom magnet on the YM. You could try to trade for magnets. There might be some movement. You could look for another chart. We could look on the NQ. And you could trade for an NQ high of day. NQ is really bullish today. Very, very bullish. NQ is calculated in points, and it's up 220 something points. It's pretty darn bullish. And the ES is pretty bullish too. Oh boy, did you hear that explosion? I've got a dog now. My daughter's dog is going to be freaking out. Let me let her in the house. Any noise that sounds like a firecracker is a disaster. And for some reason, she didn't even respond to it. And I don't know why, which is great. Usually, if there's any sound resembling a firecracker, this dog starts shaking and crying and screaming. So I'm going to set up an ES trap trade, slightly bigger than normal. And probably the worst that happens is we don't get filled. That, I think, could be the worst. So right click, strategy, trap trade, and then I'm going to go a little bit bigger because I'm thinking we might get some sort of a move today. So position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. I'm going to activate at 13:59:55. That's the correct time to activate it. My stop is going to be 20. And then tier 1 is going to be 20. Tier 2 is going to be 35. And I'm going to label it Trap ES. And I'll trade that in the account that we're profitable in today so far. Let me let this dog in. We're profitable. And I think there's going to be a move. Now, if we're wrong, it's like I said, what's the worst that happens when you have a trap trade? That there's no big move. It doesn't fill. Now, the only thing that concerns me is the fact that the markets are so darn bullish. The other alternative is forget the trap, right? Forget it completely. And just go for a magnet to test the high. It's a safer setup, and it's maybe a smarter setup. It's maybe a smarter setup. So, you know what, folks? If the ES doesn't test the high before the news, that's going to be a good setup. The problem, it's getting there now. It's getting close as we speak. It's getting too close. So I'm going to do two different things. I'm going to leave the trap as one of the trades, doing the trap. And then in a different account, I don't think he talks during the minutes, Calvin. Not usually. I don't think so. The NQ just made the new high. It made the new high. I'm going to put another ES chart on here. Now, you know what? It's too late. It's too late. It's making the new high. There's no point. It's making the magnet as we speak. It's making the magnet. I'll watch for a minute. If it drops here a bit, then I'll consider it. I'll consider it. So let me go over the trap that I'm going to try. And again, you can use MES for low risk. So we've got an activation. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. Activation 13:59:55. The stop is 20. Tier 1 is 20 ticks, tier 2 is 35. That's our trap. Remember, with a trap trade, if the market goes up, we expect to take a short. If the market goes down, we expect to go long. Now, since we looked at the YM, I suppose we could look at the YM. So my trap trade is ready. My guess is we're not going to get a fill. That's what I think. I think there will be no fill. I wish we had a whole bunch of setups. You know, you could trade for a YM magnet, right? What if the news is good and the YM decides to go up? So let's do that. Let's do this. Let's set up. It's a little bit far. How far? We're 962, 38. It's almost 58 ticks to get to the high. And we're up 110. I just don't think we're going to get there. I don't think we're going to get there. I think you have a better chance to test the PP with a magnet. It's 906. Now that's interesting. That's 58 points away. Oh, and the high is 110 ticks away. It's much further away than I thought. We're not getting to the high, I don't think. Now the ES magnet has become more interesting because it pulled back. It pulled back. We are, let's say we're 68. We're only 11 ticks away. That's the problem. It's not far enough. It's not far enough. There's not enough profit to make it worthwhile. Right now, the price is 99.25. 99.25. It's only 13 ticks to the high. It's just, maybe if you're going to play it to go through that high, maybe that would make it worth it. But otherwise, it's really not worth. It's just not worth. Not worth the magnet. It's too close. Not enough profit. So I'm going to trade the trap. We'll trade the trap and leave it at that. Trade the trap and leave it at that. So that's what I'm going to do. It's just not enough, not enough profit. Well, the magnet, look at this. It's getting more interesting. It's getting more interesting. So let's put an ES chart up. 1225. Set up a high of day magnet, low of day. It's already set up, high of day, low of day. Put a proximity of 5. Now I'm going to put two positions, one at -3 and one at +10. Do a stop of 20. It's plenty big. So I've got a second target if the ES goes through the magnet. All right? Second target if it goes through the magnet. So let's see what it looks like when it generates. So there's our orders. I want our orders. They got to be in that area. If they break our consolidation areas, over here is too close to the magnet. So as we pull back down, the magnet becomes more interesting. And if we get the long and it goes through the high, we're going to have a second order above it. Now we got 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Make sure your chart is on the chart that you're trading. So we have an ES trap. I'm thinking that won't fill. And then the magnet, if it decides to go and test the high on the news, then we have a possibility of getting the magnet. Now, if the price kind of hangs around where it is now, I think that's good for our magnet. Now, it's pretty rare that we have a report where there's no setups, but it happens. We've seen it a few times recently. It's not common, but it happens. I would have thought FOMC Minutes has always been a difficult report. Here was August. It very rarely has a big move. So this was August. After two cancels in a row. So there's our trap. The news comes out at 2. And just not much happens. We were watching the NQ also, because the NQ is an instrument we trade on the FOMC statement, and we've always tried to trade it on the minutes. And you could see there just in August, nothing happened. Just nothing happened. Not much movement. So AMD has really been making lots of money. Will, you've been enjoying all the stuff you've been learning, you mean? I am sorry that we missed the YM Open this morning. Good, good, good. That YM Open was so great this morning and we missed it. All right, so here we go. Let's see what happens on this. Will the trap trade fill, or will it fill and then ruin it by just continuing to go up, 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 and up? That's always a concern with a trap trade. Okay, make sure you shrink your chart so you can see all the orders. So now what they're doing is on the news, they're reading the report. That's what I hear them doing. And you could see the ES on the trap is just not moving very much. It's just not moving very much. They're just talking about what the governors were feeling, who supported the rate cut that they did, who didn't support the cut, how many people supported it. So they're really just reporting on that FOMC statement meeting. And there's nothing dramatic in the news that I'm hearing right now. I would cancel the trap. We gave it a minute. If we get a move to the upside, it probably will be a strong move and it'll keep going. That's my feeling. And we have our magnet to take advantage of that if that happens. We can watch. I mean, usually waiting a minute and a half, 2 minutes on a trap trade is more than appropriate. It's more than appropriate. And we're just not getting much market reaction from this report because they're not reporting anything that the market honestly doesn't already know really well. That's why there's no reaction. The market knows all of this info. There's no surprises. So 2 minutes, no trap fill, I would cancel it. Now the magnet, I'm interested. Let's give the magnet a chance. Let's see if the ES decides to go and test the high. It's either going to drop and do nothing for us, or it's going to maybe go and test that high. So we could take a few minutes and watch and see if the market responds positively to the minutes or if it just pulls back. Or it might just consolidate where it is. It might just consolidate where it is. It's moving. All right. So all the news is out now. The statement's been read. And I'll give it a couple more minutes to see if we continue on this move up. It's not a very strong move up. We do have the squeeze working in our favor. But you could see this is not dramatic movement. On a trap trade, the opposite orders are the target. And usually what we do, Leonard, is shrink them, make them smaller, because they'll usually be too far away if you just leave them where they are. So if you get filled, your opposite, what would have been orders, now become your targets. I'll give it a minute or two more. It really doesn't look like we're going anywhere on this trade, folks. It's so slow. It's so slow. Now, it's really not looking like it wants to push up. There's no law that says you can't keep the magnet on until the end of the day if you wanted to. Um, You don't have to leave it automatic. If it's not purple, it's not automatic. It'll blink and make a sound when it gets to the order line. Or you could just leave it in automatic, and if the ES decides to go and test the high, it'll fill you. And then you might check the low, the bottom also. If it tests the low, if the ES really falls and it tests the low, you could take the opposite side. There's just not much upward movement here that has any meaning. Plus, if you get filled in this market, there's no guarantee it's going to keep pushing up. It doesn't have a lot of motivation. Let's see. Volume picked up a little bit just there. Give it another minute. And thanks for watching on YouTube. Appreciate it. If you want to hit the like button, we'd appreciate it. And folks, I guess we're just watching paint dry pretty much. Looks like paint is drying. It's really a slow market. It's a very slow market. I want to thank everyone on YouTube for joining us. I'm going to close the stream and we'll see you. Let's see, what are we doing tomorrow? We're streaming tomorrow, the market open. All right, we're streaming the market open tomorrow. So I'll see everybody on YouTube in the morning. And thank you for joining us. I did put a link for our Friday webinar with Rightline. It's in the chat. And everyone on YouTube, I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for joining.